I'd like to welcome you guys to the Common Kit and Information and Overview. And this is in a partnership between the Discovery Source and the Inclusion Collaborative. And we're delighted to be here. And I'm hoping I can move my screen. Why won't it allow me to move my screen? There we go. The Inclusion Collaborative believes in welcoming all children, and that's a huge part of our work. We wanted to provide today's overview and information of the Common Kit, so you feel like you would have more information about this resource that the Discovery Source is producing. Today we're going to share a little bit about the Inclusion Collaborative, but we really want to make sure you understand the importance of recognizing feelings, becoming familiar with strategies to support social emotional self-regulation, and learning how to use the Common Kit. So, ready to go? Dave, we're ready? Move on.
We are ready.
The Inclusion Collaborative is a department of the Santa Clara County Office of Education in California. We believe that every individual, regardless of abilities and disability, have the right to full access to quality, inclusive learning and community environments. And you can find out more about us by going to our website. We provide coaching, technical assistance, and lots of professional development. We focus mostly in the Bay Area, but we've been having an outreach wider and wider. This is our website. We encourage you to go there to find out more about us, inclusioncollaborative.org. Sign up to be on our mailing list, get on our Facebook, follow us on Pinterest. It's a great resource where teachers and parents can go on and share their adaptations and modifications or get new ideas. And then we also have a YouTube channel which has previous trainings that are recorded. We have an inclusion support warm line, which provides free support and information and referral for including children of all ages in a variety of community environments. We have a lot of calls on behavior, I'm not gonna lie. We do developmental screening over the phone if needed, and we connect people to resources within their communities. We have English and Spanish speaking folks who will take calls, and this again is a free resource. So how do you feel? This is an important aspect of when you're working with the Common Kit and teaching children about feelings. It's really good for adults even to check in about their feelings. How are you feeling today? Where are you today? Do you need any more emotions besides what's up here to identify with? It's just a really good way to be mindful of your own emotional well-being, because when you are going to go and work with kids, they are very good about figuring out how you really are feeling. So we like to always have adults check in with how they're feeling. And it's really important to think about how, as a child, did you learn about feelings? Did you have a class that you went to feelings class? Were you directly taught how to express emotions? Some of us had emotions we weren't supposed to share. Others of us had other emotions that were okay to share. So these are all questions that as adults who are working with young children and supporting their own regulation, it's good to think about how comfortable you are with emotions now. How do you deal with emotions now, and were you taught in a different way? And all those reflective things are really important for adults who are going to be teaching kids about emotions. So it's just something to think about, a little reflection on your own journey of being taught about emotions. So we do support that all emotions and feelings are valid. It's okay to have feelings. It's what you do with them that counts. Obviously, feelings change. You can be happy and sad within a minute, and that's perfectly okay. You can have more than one feeling about something. Those are called mixed emotions. When you're happy about something, but maybe not about something, the same thing. You can also, we also validate that every person has a different feeling about something than someone else does. So the same situation, the same thing can be going on, but people will react and have different feelings about it. And that is okay. That's normal, typical feeling development. We like to show this clip. It's on YouTube, What If Adults Regulated Like Toddlers? So we're going to go ahead and look at it because it kind of makes a real good statement about what could happen if we did all regulate like toddlers.
I don't want to pay bills. I don't want to pay bills. I don't want to pay. I want to be there now. I want to be there now. No, no, no. I don't know where I'm going. Mama, Mama. Where's my Wi-Fi? I hate you, Wi-Fi. I hate you. I hate you. I hate you. I wanted soy. 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 I wanted soy.
So that was an entertaining video, but it does really showcase what could happen if adults regulated like toddlers. So it's just something to think about when we're working with our kiddos and teaching self-regulation. All of us have learned to self-regulate in our own different ways. Some people drink coffee in the morning, deep breaths, a little exercise, calming outdoor moment there. That's one way that people self-regulate. Talking to friends is a good way to help regulate yourself. Sometimes we have animals who live with us and they need a walk and they regulate us by taking us for a walk. Yoga is a really awesome way to help self-regulate yourselves. And some people do video games. And then some of us eat chocolate, but that's okay. It's what you do most of the time that matters, but we all have ways that we've learned to cope and self-regulate ourselves. So let's talk about what is self-regulation. Self-regulation is defined as the ability to regulate your own thinking, emotions, and behavior. Children translate this into experiences from information that they have received to learn to regulate. For example, a young infant just learning to soothe itself. We know that we rock, we swaddle, we put their hands together, we sing, we bounce, all those things. And pretty soon children learn to bring their hands to their mouth or snuggle in a blanket on their own. And that's one way that we teach them how to self-regulate. We need to continue teaching kids to self-regulate. Ideally, we learn self-regulation by our 5th birthday. Not always, but we like to support that as our goal. And children can definitely be taught self-regulation. And so we're going to give you some ideas for that. Why do we regulate? We know that when we're not regulated, we are operating from a very ineffective thinking brain. Thinking and emotion affect each other. If you can regulate your emotions, then you are able to engage and learn. When you are revved up and feeling a lot of emotions, it's really hard to engage your thinking brain. So if you are in school and you're not regulated, your capacity to learn is not as high. So they do have research that shows young children who engage in intentional self-regulation, who say, okay, I'm gonna sit and I'm gonna learn, I'm gonna listen. That really helps them go further in their education. And intentional self-regulation predicts school success. So there is a real correlation between ineffective thinking and effective thinking, and being able to use your thinking brain needs to happen when you are regulated. This is a really great clip by Dr. Daniel Siegel showing the hand model of the brain, and we use this often to teach young children how to how the brain works and how we need to learn to use the hand model to indicate and assist us in identifying how we are feeling. So I'm going to go ahead and show this, and then we'll talk about it a little bit. This again can be pulled up from YouTube, Dr. Daniel Siegel's hand model of the brain.
One of the most rewarding experiences for me has been to study brain science and apply it to the experience of parenting. And the hand model of the brain that I use to teach parents is very useful to understand that. So if you take your thumb and put it in the middle of your palm, put your fingers over the top, this is a very useful model of the brain. And when we can actually see in front of us what's going on in the brain, then we can change what the brain does. So let me walk you through very basically what happens in this brain and the structures in it. And it goes like this. The spinal cord comes up representing the wrist, and then you have coming up into the skull, the brain stem and the limbic area, which work together to help regulate arousal and your emotions and the way you have a fight, flight, freeze response. These are below the cortex, the limbic and brainstem areas, and the cortex is this higher part of the brain that allows us to perceive the outside world, to think and reason. And this frontmost part of the brain, right behind your forehead, so the person's oriented like this, is actually the part that regulates the subcortical, limbic, and brainstem areas. This regulation is very important because sometimes we can have all sorts of things happen in our life. We're tired, we're exhausted, someone pushes a particular emotional button, and we can flip our lids. So rather than being tuned in and connected and balanced and flexible, we can lose all of that flexibility, even lose moral reasoning, and act in ways that are terrifying to others, including our children. Now, you can actually bring yourself back online and come back to the high road and make a repair with your child, and that's important to explain to them. And you can also use this hand model of the brain to explain to children, even as young as 5 and 6, how to understand when their emotions are rising up from the brainstem and limbic areas here, and how it's overriding the prefrontal area and making it so they may be about to flip their lids. So I've had kids come tell me that they're about to go flip their lids and they need a break. They need a timeout. And by even just naming that, they can tame it. And that's the power of using the hand model for ourselves and our children to help us all make sense of what goes on in the emotional communication that we have in the course of day-to-day life.
Thank you, Dr. Siegel. He says that very well. Again, that's one I would really recommend looking at some more and sharing with families and parents and teachers that you're working with. So this is a really nice diagram of the hand-brain anatomy, that it's that limbic system that comes up from the brainstem that regulates all our emotional fight-flight systems, and then our cerebral cortex helps with the thinking and reasoning, and then our prefrontal cortex is which provides all that emotional regulation, orchestrates thoughts, actions with goals, et cetera, et cetera. And to have a fully connected limbic brain that can be controlled by a prefrontal cortex and frontal cortex, it's typically not until a human being is about 25 years of age. So it takes a while for us to be able to consciously regulate ourselves. But it just is a really good way for kids to understand when their emotional system is overriding their thinking brain and what they can do to help support that. So I encourage you to use this hand model of the brain. Self-regulation in the hand model. So self-regulation helps our cerebral cortex then gain control over that limbic emotional brain system that we have. This is what the brain, what it looks like when we are in full-fledged limbic system. Our emotions have taken over our brain. This is how our brain using the hand model looks like right before, right after. And this is a fully controlled brain with the frontal cortex, prefrontal cortex, supporting and overriding that limbic system. Again, at age 25 is when we're able to do this in a nice fashion. And so it takes a while to get there, it takes some practice. These are some examples of self-regulation at different age groups, and it's important to think about it. When you're working with kids with disabilities who may be developmentally delayed in some ways, you'll still see some of these behaviors, but maybe in older children. Toddlers typically thumb sucking, holding a stuffed animal, rubbing fabric. You can also see hitting and head banging provide some self-regulation. Again, those are behaviors that we would want to provide some replacement behaviors for. In school age kids, wiggling is a very common way to self-regulate. And what do we say in school? Sit still. So it's just an important thing to understand that children do regulate themselves by wiggling. Chewing, getting up, humming, hitting, and head banging again can be a way that school age kids self-regulate. In teens, listening to music, electronics, fidgeting, humming. I also have included chewing gum in many of the kids that I worked with. Hitting and head banging can also be a form of self-regulation for teenagers. So again, these are just some examples of how kids at different age groups have been known to self-regulate themselves. So why do we use the calming kit? Because what we'd like to do is teach appropriate self-regulation. So the calming kit is a group of tools that provide sensory strategies and emotional support to assist kids with regulating their bodies and emotions so they can be ready to learn. And if you have the tools and strategies ready to go, you're much more likely to use them. So that's why it's really nice to have a kit that has everything in it already, and you can pick and choose what you might need. So when do we use the calming kit? When do we teach self-regulation? Well, it's a good idea when our hand model for the brain, as you can see here, is fully regulated and we're engaged with our thinking brain. That's a really good time to teach. When we're just about to lose control, that is actually a good time to teach or provide a strategy. When you've actually lost all self-regulation and you're in the middle of flipping your lid, so to speak, living within your emotional brain, that is not a good time to teach. After, when a child is being able to learning how to self-regulate after an incident is a really good time to teach then. And then obviously when our brain is intact, ready to go, fully engaged is another great time to teach. The bottom line from this is you do not want to say, we're going to learn about the calming kit when a child is working out of their emotional brain. So these are some of the items in the calming kit. We have bubbles, Play-Doh, a squeeze ball, glitter wand, glitter bottle, taking a 5-breath visual. We have a calm down social story, and a social story is a story written in a child's perspectives with pictures and choices and options about what to do during different situations. The feelings wheel, which is a great way to identify how am I feeling, and that's just enough to engage your thinking brain. These are some other items that you can add, coloring sheets, crayons, colored pencils. A lot of people are using that now for calm and relaxing activities. Books, especially if it's a nice calming book. Sometimes kids need a drink of water or a snack. That can be one way to help regulate. Calming pictures are great. Earphones, that especially if they're noise canceling, or if you have meditation music on an iPod or an iPad. A weighted sock, something that's heavy that they can put on their lap or put on their shoulders, and you can have other items as needed. In my calm down kit, I have a puppet, a toy puppet that's a turtle, because when turtles need to calm down, they go into their shell, just as a nice aside for something I put in my own calm down kit. So why do we have these items? Why do we use them? Squeezing and physical activities. When your body is in full limbic brain and you're working from your emotional side, you can have a whole bunch of energy that comes out of your body for fight, flight. And so often having something to help reduce that energy, is a good idea. So a squeeze ball, squeezing it really hard, can help support that energy and getting rid of it. Play-Doh, using something that uses your hands, that's you have to have some hard work with. And then there's some calming activity cards that we have in the kit. For example, one is doing a chair push-up or a wall push-up, and has different ways of building some extra ways to get energy out. So the activity cards are a good idea. So again, when you have all this extra emotional limbic system energy, it's a good idea to try to build in a way to get rid of it in a healthy way. Why do we use the glitter bottle or a glitter wand? A water bottle with some glitter in it is very nice and calming, or a glitter wand. You can, it allows time for reflection. It's almost meditative, but you don't need to have someone tell you how to do it. You can just give the child the glitter bottle or the glitter wand, and it helps to take their mind off their problem, and then that engages their thinking brain again. So we love the glitter bottle or glitter wands. It's really a good time for kids to just take a little deep breath and think and focus on the glitter. So why do we use a feeling wheel? The feeling wheel is a wonderful individualized way that kids can express how they're feeling. And as soon as you identify your feelings, you're actually starting to connect your thinking brain. So by identifying your feelings, you engage that thinking brain, and that helps with the calming strategies of self-regulating. So that's a great way to get kids beginning to self-regulate, identify their feelings. And then we have, why do we take 5 breaths? So we like to practice with people. Breathe in for a count of 4, hold for a count of 7, and then blow out for a count of 8. And I guess I'm going to model that for you because this is a webinar. So I want everyone to breathe in for a count of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then hold it for a count of 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then blow out for a count of 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then reflect on how you feel. It's actually a good thing to do while you're driving home in traffic, because it really does help to relax you. And so what it does is it stimulates the parasympathetic response, and your oxygen consumption decreases, your heart rate slows, your blood pressure decreases, your mind is more calm, your muscle tension decreases. So it's actually a great thing to do before you go get your blood pressure read at the doctor. But to teach kids how to do this is really, really important. And it's a great coping mechanism for all of us. I will take 5 deep breaths. We have a visual schedule in your calming kit that every time you take one, you can put it on the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that kind of guides kids through. We like to pair it with bubbles. When you blow bubbles, you can't go, you have to blow in, or take in and blow out. It's a natural pairing of taking breaths, and it's also really fun. So most kids get really excited doing bubbles, and it helps to calm and self-regulate. So here's the social story. Why do we use a calm down social story? And what it does is it really helps to provide that process step by step with pictures, with different choices of calming down. And so the calming kit has a calm down social story in it. It's in English and Spanish, and it's a tool that can be useful when the child is fully regulated and thinking about, planning for when they might want to use some of these strategies, or it can be used just before or just after a child needs to be regulated, because it'll give some actual guidance to that child. And it's all in pictures, and it's got some great ideas. These are the calming strategy cards, which I mentioned earlier. And they are pictures of different kids doing different things, different strategies. Gives a visual. Our world is a very visual world, so by having a visual picture of kids doing different things, it offers different choices for kids to do. So listening to music is a great calming strategy. Stretching is another calming strategy. And so there's more of them in the Calm Down Kit of different ways that can support kids and teaching them ways to calm themselves down. They can pull out their cards. So in summary, self-regulation, kids can learn it at any age. It can be taught. I encourage folks to use the hand model of the brain. That is just a really impactful way for children to learn about how our brain reacts to different for self-regulation. And then there's different calm down strategies we talked about, some for when a child's flipped their lid and some to use for when a child is still in control. So the Calm Down Kit, again, is already prepared for you. It's a group of tools that provides all these sensory strategies all in one kit. And there's emotional supports provided that will help assist kids in teaching them how to regulate their bodies. Because when they're regulated, they are going to be able to learn, and they'll be that much more successful in school and other environments. So how will you use this information? I guess you can give us a chat in the chat box. That would be great to hear from folks. And we appreciate you being here for us to have this, our first webinar of the Calm Down Kit. So I'm going to see if anyone has any chat. Oh, there are some chats. Yes, loud and clear. Yes, yes, I can hear you. Does anyone have any questions? Someone asked about strategy cards. There are approximately maybe 10 strategy cards. And I see the list of items that are in the kit again. So I'm going to scroll back because we've had a viewer wanted to see what's in the kit. So with the webinar, you can do this. Isn't that fun? There they are. Any other questions from people? Scream a lot. All right, I'm going to move forward. And oh, looks like one more chat. Thank you, everybody, for being part of this first webinar. We appreciate your enthusiasm over the Calm Down Kit. Please contact the Discovery Source if you'd like more information about it. And we appreciate your interest in this product.
Okay.